Student, welcome in political science class. Student, in this video we will discuss globalization and its consequences. Student, globalization is the term where the flows of capital and commodities with the idea and the migration of people is will be. And globalization for world and India is not new things, because the globalization rooted in the past India. Students, Silk Route was the main way to link the various continents by the trade. Silk Route linked China, India, Africa and Europe. The Indian and Chinese traders, merchants had used to the export of the trading the tea, cotton, etc. And they had sold the lot of spice, tea, cottons in the European continent countries and got the profit. So globalization had started since ancient time. But what is changed after 1991 for India, and what had changed came in the world trading system and globalization, or in the politics of the world after Second World War. We will discuss in this topic. Students, after Second World War, when European countries had lost their capital, property, young generation, etc., and they had not capital to increase or boost the industrialization method, the trade, etc., and the anger was filled in the mind of the various European continent countries. Then America came in front of them, and America had made a Marshall Plan. How to increase the industrialization sense, trade and other economic purpose by the European countries. It was under the Marshall Plan, and this Marshall Plan had increased the economy, trade and businesses all over world. And also United Nations came in this term, and United Nations with the good sense of World Bank, International Monetary Fund and the World Trade Organization had started the many policies, many programs to link the world globe by the product, by the market, by the consumer, etc. So the term of globalization, if we are sharing the luxuries, the world trade qualities product all over world countries, it is the result of hardness by the United Nations, by the World Trade Organization, by the largest industrialist countries like America, Britain, Japan, etc. How it happened and what the consequences came, we are going to discuss in this video. Point number first, the concept of the globalization. The concept of the globalization is it is a concept fundamentally deals with the flow. It means the globalization is the dealing of the flow. What flow? Capital flows, commodities flows, market flows, production, etc. So we can say the concept of globalization is in the deals of the flows, okay, and causes of the globalization. What was the cause, roots of the globalization? It is about the flows of the idea, capital and commodities. These are three was the main cause of the globalization. First, idea. Many MNCs, many world countries had good idea with the technology, how we can share our trade, our product, our industry materials, our technical persons. So this idea had increased the process of globalization and capital. Many countries in all over world, they had lot of capital. They can invest their capital in the poor countries for the growth of the industrialization, for the growth of economy. So capital become also the cause of the globalization. And commodities, the power of purchase, the power of purchasing and the power of selling. So these three was the main cause of the globalization. Number first, idea, various kinds of ideas and capitals and commodities. Then the political consequences. Consequences means result. What was the result of the political consequences in the globalization? The globalization had resulted in an erosion of state and ability of the government. When globalization started all over world, the role of the government and the ability of the government arose. Reason? WTO and other world authorities had taken the broad decision under the agreement, because the United Nations countries had bounded with the some agreement and treaties in the term of the globalization, where WTO will decide the all globalization functions and the mechanism and the machinery of the globalization. So after the treaty and after the agreement, the political status means the role of government reduced and the role of the WTO and world organization increased. So it is the result. In the term of the globalization, the political interference decreased and the world authorities work and power increase. And the second consequence, the economic consequences. It is the flows of the commodity, capital, people, idea and the attention toward the role of the JMF and WTO. Under the economic consequences, when flows increase of the commodity means purchasing and selling. Money means capital, both capital, human capital and money, and people, trained people, untrained people, and the ideas. These are depend and increase the idea of globalization. So we can say the economic consequences had resulted to the good role of the commodity, capital, peoples and ideas. Then the cultural consequences. It is the best result of the globalization, because after globalization, those countries were involved in the globalization, they had much worriedness. They had fear our culture will change, because the globalization had increased the Western culture. So many cultural persons, cultural groups, religious groups have the worriedness, the fear. This increasement of the Western culture can destroy our culture. So we can say, according the cultural consequences resulted, the globalization had reduced the traditional and religious culture atmosphere and increased the Western culture atmosphere after the globalization. And the India and the globalization. India had started this process in 1991 and broad level, because after 1991 the Indian government policy changed when P.V. Narasimha Rao became the Prime Minister and Manmohan Singh became the Finance Minister. That time the Indian economy was decreased, the productivity was less, the power of economy and strength of economy of country was less. So Indian government had taken decision, we will offer in various sectors the investment of the MNC and world countries, and we will reduce the tax barrier. Why not before 1991? Because before 1991 Indian central government had one fear: if MNC will come, then they can stop or end the domestic industries, because domestic industries, cottage industries, small scale industries had not money and capital flow to compete the MNCs. But after 1991 Indian government had taken decision, without investment, without came of the MNCs, our domestic cottage and other industries will not ready for the competition at the world level. So we can say, before fear on the basis Indian government had participated, or Indian nation had participated less percentage in the globalization, but after decision of Manmohan Singh and P.V. Narasimha Rao in 1991, India had participated in the globalization abroad level. So student, we can say globalization had changed the world idea, the world capital, the world challenges, and overall if we will got the consequences of the globalization, so it is the last decision, the consumers and market sharing lot of profit, and the world countries and world people have got lot of opportunities of the employment. Okay student, thanks.